Last night, boxing history was made. Canelo Alvarez became the first super middleweight undisputed champion in the history of boxing since its inception, with major sanctioning body titles in the 1980s and its proposal in the 1960s. He deserves credit. It was a great fight. Caleb Plant had his moments, but at the end, he could not continue. You may be wondering why I don't have Canelo pulled up and I have this fighter pulled up. It's because one of the commentators said that Canelo is the first Mexican undisputed champion in the history of boxing. This couldn't be further from the truth. It's a complete lack of will to educate oneself to just claim things like this without actually looking through the records from the beginning until the end, or until the present, should I say. The first undisputed champion from Mexico is not Canelo. It was Vicente Saldivar. He became undisputed featherweight champion in 1964 when he stopped Sugar Ramos for the WBC and WBA titles. There was no IBF, there was no WBO. He was the undisputed champion. He ended up retiring, but came back and won the WBC title for the second time. He was undisputed in his day. Give credit where credit's due, and don't give credit to fighters who didn't achieve what you say they did. Canelo is not even the second undisputed champion from Mexico. Ruben Olivares is, or was. He was the second undisputed champion of all weight classes to come from Mexico. Not only that, but he was undefeated when he became undisputed bantamweight champion. Over 50 wins, undefeated. He reigned as WBA and WBC bantamweight champion when he knocked out Lionel Rose in the 5th round. From 1969 he reigned until 1970 when he was beaten by Chuco Castillo, who would be the third undisputed champion from Mexico. He had stopped Olivares' 62 fight winning streak since his pro debut, 61-0-1. He knocked him out in the 14th round to become the third undisputed champion from Mexico. Olivares avenged that defeat to become a two-time champion. And these are the first three undisputed champions from Mexico. You may be thinking that Canelo might be the fourth, but he's not even that. Rafael Herrera is the fourth undisputed champion to come from Mexico. He became champion by defeating Olivares. He was undisputed bantamweight champion in 1972. Canelo is the first undisputed and the fifth from Mexico. He's not the first from Mexico, but he's the fifth. He's the first in the super middleweight division. He did it last night with a resounding TKO over Caleb Plant. Boxing fans and boxing so-called pundits who don't deserve to sit ringside at fights that they don't know for a sport they don't know any of the history of, need to educate themselves before they make wild claims about their fighters just to build them up when there is plenty to build them up on, without pretending like history doesn't exist. History was made last night. However, history has existed before last night.